We're a week away from the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Houston Texans hold the 25th pick of the first round, and we're wondering what they're going to do. Most people believe they should draft an offensive lineman, and many experts believe they will draft an offensive lineman. Yesterday, we played a clip from Ryan Russillo's podcast. He had two NFL draft experts on, Daniel Jeremiah, Todd McShay. Those two believe that the Texans are looking at Tyler Booker out of Arizona and an offensive lineman that we'll discuss in a moment, Kelvin Banks from Texas. These are the two guys the Texans are eyeing. We'll see if they end up picking one of those guys. We'll also react to some of what Nick Caserio had to say about the draft in just a moment. But before we dive into the tackles the Texans theoretically could be targeting, I did think that this question, of all the questions asked at Nick Caserio's 38-minute press conference yesterday, was the best one. I believe Adam Wexler asked the question, so shout out to him. This is the big question to ask Nick Caserio when it comes to where he has not been great. Because really, I mean, C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, Derek Stingley, Nico Collins, Kamari Lassiter, Kalen Bullock, Jalen Petrie. He's done a pretty good job in the draft. He hasn't been perfect, but I mean, the Texans have some really good young talent. He's the reason that it's here. But he's struggled when it comes to selecting offensive linemen, as we saw with Kenyon Green. And this has been an issue for the Texans for quite some time, drafting offensive linemen. You know, in the Bill O'Brien era, there were some similar issues. Nick Caserio was asked by Wexler about perhaps reevaluating how they evaluate offensive linemen.
Nick, as you normally do when you open up these press conferences, you mentioned some of the guys that are in your group, Lip, Zeke, and Brad. You guys have been together the last couple of years doing this. Last three drafts, you drafted 6 offensive linemen, 3 in the first 2 rounds. Do you think internally there needs to be a reevaluation of how you evaluate that specific position?
I mean, we look at everything on a constant basis. So, again, it's case by case. I mean, a lot of faith and confidence. I mean, I'd say the entire building, start with D'Amico and the coaching staff, have a lot of confidence in that group. So, again, look at everything, and we'll try to make decisions that, we think make sense for your organization. They're not all going to work. I mean, I've said this before. I mean, I don't know how many times I've said it, but it's a lot. You can ask Omar. I mean, the draft's 50-50. I mean, that's what it is. So some are going to work, some aren't going to work. I mean, that's just the way it goes. So we're no different than any other team. So if there's something that we can improve and tweak and adjust, we'll look at it. So it's never one particular thing and never one factor, but we're always open-minded and always trying to find ways to make things better.
Nick Caserio gives long answers. And sometimes he gives you nuggets to work with. The problem is the answers are generally so long. And let's be honest, today with our phones, we all tend to zone out a little bit. No? Sometimes we just lose our train of thought. I thought in answering that question, Cacerio was a little annoyed, but I don't think the annoyance was necessarily directed at Adam asking the question. I think it's partly due to the fact, he knows that this is an issue. But he is right with one of the things that he said there. It is really a 50-50 proposition when it comes to the NFL draft, which is why I really do not take the draft that seriously and our conversations about the draft that seriously, which is why when we talk about theoretical draft prospects for the Houston Texans, what we do is we look at Lance Zierlein's write-ups on these prospects for NFL.com and all of the unintentionally erotic language he uses to describe those players to determine who we like and who we don't like for the 2025 NFL draft. Hit it.
You know Lance Zierlein for his mock drafts.
This is where the problems start in my hometown. I pass on C.J. Stroud.
But have you ever read his scouting reports?
Look at the body. Look at that bubble butt. They're power generators right there.
We're going to pick who the Texans should draft entirely based on these things he actually wrote.
Be a little stiff in the hips. Ooh,
they fall down hard and long.
And now, our unintentionally erotic big board.
Yes. Already on the big board at guard, Donovan Jackson from Ohio State, Tyler Booker from Alabama, Tate Ratledge and his sweet mullet from Georgia, Jonah Savainea, a Samoan from Arizona, Joe Huber, a Wisconsin guard. Then at wide receiver, we put 4 on the board yesterday. Maybe there's a wide receiver available at the back of round 1. We're hoping it's Travis Hunter, that there's some gas mask bong video that gets released tomorrow. Tedaroya McMillian and Jack Beck from Arizona and TCU, respectively, are the two that we enjoyed the most. Also, Jalen Royals from Utah State. So those are our receivers. Now it's time to look at tackle. Because Nick Caserio has said this in the past. I'm looking to have 4 tackles. 4 tackles I can rely on. You just traded one of them in Laramie Tunsil. Cam Robinson, not exactly coming off the best season with the Minnesota Vikings and the Jacksonville Jaguars before that. Blake Fisher, 2nd-round pick. Titus Howard, I don't even know if he's a tackle anymore. They're going to be looking at tackles in the draft, Sean.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he said he wants 4 tackles he can rely on. I can squint and see one, with that being Titus Howard at right tackle, but then that opens up, it's a little bit of whack-a-mole with
Exactly.
the issues. But yeah, I think tackle is definitely something that they should be at the very least looking at high in the draft.
So let's start looking at tackles and Lance Zierlein's unintentionally erotic lingo to describe them with the guy who he has as his top graded tackle, Armand Membu from Missouri. Doubt he falls all the way to the Texans at 25. He's got good pop on contact. He's still growing into his frame, but his game boasts unusual maturity. Oh,
So he's a grower. Got it.
he's a grower. And on top of that, like, he's skilled. Like, this ain't his first rodeo, you
Mhm.
know? Sometimes it's awkward at first. Takes a little bit of time to figure out what you're doing. He sifts through moving bodies. Oof. Here's the problem. I don't think the ladies will like this. Far below height standards. That's unfortunate. And he's not a deep bender, but he doesn't need to be because he's far below the height standard.
Yeah, less he has to bend.
I think we got to put Membu on. It just feels like this guy knows what he's doing out there.
Yeah.
And that's half the battle in
And-
the, areas.
And sometimes you do have to take the chance on the 5'10" guy on the app.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Or the 5'11 and a half guy who says he's 6 feet tall.
On your driver's license.
It does say 6 feet tall on my driver's license. So honestly, that does feel very official. From the 281. Paul, I think you would call him a grower and a shower. Well, I'd actually have to see it first. Will Campbell, LSU. He can clear out B gaps.
Whoa.
Has short arms, but finishes with good aggression level.
Okay. Oh,
Does clear out the B gaps. It's not a, generally I'm more of an A gap guy, but Will Campbell, short arms. I think I'm out.
yeah. No,
I'm okay with below height standards, but short arms. What were you talking about? A T-Rex arm? Next thing you know, Gary's going to call it talking about T-Rex arm quarterbacks. I'm out. How about you?
out.
Okay.
Out on Will Campbell.
Texas guy's up next, Sean. Kelvin Banks Jr. from Texas, 3rd ranked grade-wise per Lance Zierlein on NFL.com. He must become more proactive in attacking power rushers and long-limbed attackers. Okay, so not into the long-limbed types. I'm a long-limbed. That's my type, if you will. Dips and drives hips into the opponent. Okay. But he lacks desired thickness in his limbs. Is the Texas guy, Sean?
Yeah.
I'm out.
And yeah, in fairness, given, in this exercise, I don't like what I heard.
I don't either.
I like watching him play, but I haven't liked what I heard.
Yeah, doesn't sound special. Up next, so he's off. Josh Simmons, Ohio State, who had a season-ending knee injury last year. Adequate size and length, gives good effort to sustain and finish. Is that not every man? Just about.
Good effort.
Like this is the average human man.
I'm efforting to finish
And to sustain as
and
well.
to sustain.
I mean, generally we do the former rather than the latter, but adequate size and length. I'm willing to draft him if he slides. I'm willing to draft him if he's like, if he falls to the 5th, 6th round or something like that, fine. But yeah, I don't want another John Mechie in the 2nd round, just looking at it from the injury that he had last year. You tried that once, you tried to get cute, didn't work out.
Yeah, the injury stuff is tough. I think it's tougher in football than in any other sport, taking a chance on an injured guy just because you don't know how they're going to respond.
Continuing to analyze tackle prospects for the Houston Texans in the draft, entirely using Lance Zierlein's unintentionally erotic lingo at NFL.com, family website. Josh Connerly Jr. is a tackle from Oregon. He strains at the point of attack. Okay. Throws a sudden punch with good pop squeezes the B gap. There's a lot of B gappers out here. Kind of weird. Hey, to each their own. This man, the tackles aren't doing it for me right now.
No.
I think I'm out on this one too, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's better than some of the ones that we've heard, but I'm still not blown away.
Me neither. All right, more prospects. Gray Zabel from North Dakota State. I'm almost out by default just because
Gray?
North Dakota State.
Oh,
Yeah, Gray. And, well,
his first name's Gray.
yeah. Does he have 50 shades in him? Hey, makes a point to get body on body. All right.
Okay.
His short arms. Short arms create difficulties in sustaining blocks. Hands get wide, slide off the target. No, this guy seems messy. He's messy.
I was ready. I wanted to give Gray. I didn't want to just look at his name Gray and see if he's from North Dakota State and throw him in the trash. But what I've heard isn't inspiring.
I'm not feeling it either. Anthony Belton is up next from North Carolina State. Enormous tackle with good power and long arms. Drives power. His drive power widens gaps. Oh,
Which
you know what?
B gap. Or?
This guy's big. He's a big guy. He's a project guy. I think I'm in on Anthony Belton.
Okay. Yeah, I like the tools. You know what? Maybe I can fix them.
Just needs a little bit of learning, a little maturity.
Yeah.
Ozzie Trapelo, Boston College. Ooh, a Bill O'Brien guy.
Great name.
The asterisk because it's a Bill O'Brien guy. I don't know.
Not Texans, are they?
Has a good feel for pocket depth with an ability to ride rushers over the top. Whoa.
Okay.
Able to uncoil his lower half and access a firm anchor. Whoa, Lance. Above average grip strength allows for longer stickiness.
I'm kind of in.
I'm liking this. Uses reach and feel hands more often than a forceful punch. All right. He's a sensitive type. Gets torqued off balance by stockier opponents with strong hips. Okay, so not thick is not his type, if you will.
Yeah, but hey, listen, there's a reason this guy's like the 6th one we've read.
And when you're a tackle as well, I mean, you're not dealing with thick as often as you're dealing with generally spry. So I think I'm in. I think I'm in on Ozzie Trapelo.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
Trapelo.
I'm probably pronouncing his name incorrectly. Ozzie's a cool name too. Here's a really cool name from Minnesota as we continue to gauge tackle prospects for the Texans entirely based on the unintentionally erotic language of Lance Zierlein. Aronte Ursary.
Whoa. That is a good name.
That is cool. Not a natural bender, but a massive humanity. Broad chest, long arms. Good initial slide quickness and depth gain. Whoa.
Okay.
Consistent base width and body control makes well-timed movements. In.
Yeah.
This guy's good.
I'm good.
And one last one. Charles Grant from William and Mary. Elite length. Utilizes a bag of tricks.
Okay.
This is perhaps where he wins. Tree branch arm length with legitimate 7-foot wingspan.
Wow.
Uncoils hips to bolster leverage and strength at the point. All right. I think there's some tackle prospects that the Texans could theoretically find at the back of the draft.
I was going to say, these guys, I mean, just judging by their placement on this list, seem like they'll be available. Probably not on Thursday. They'll be available on Thursday, but probably not someone you want to draft on Thursday.
No.
But yeah,
Saturday?
I'm good with the last 2 or 3 we're in on. So
these guys are all looking like Friday and Saturday guys. So at tackle for the Texans, we're putting on Armand Membu from Missouri, Josh Simmons from Ohio State, though that's a pick that you make later because he's dealing with the season-ending knee injury.
Round.
Ozzie Trapelo from Boston College, Anthony Belton from NC State, Aronte Ursary from Minnesota, and Charles Grant from William and Mary. They have made it to our Texans big board.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations. It's a prestigious honor. And thank you, Lance Zierlein, for whatever goes on in your head.